This is Wretched Radio with Todd Friel.
It is here and only here that you will get a sneak peek. This is Wretched Radio. Marvel. When is this going to stop? Marvel Studios working on a brand new movie, and I'm not even kidding about this. The studio president, Kevin Feige, F-E-I-G-E. Feige? Maybe it's Feige? Like
Feige.
Feige?
Correct.
Did you see this? Phil Johnson, I think, posted this. It was somebody, it's like on a coffee mug or for a T-shirt. I before E, except after C, unless Keith is weighing, and it was just a bunch of, a sentence with a bunch of words that are E-I as opposed to I before E. This fellow's name is Kevin F-E-I-G-E. I guess he could be on that coffee mug. Spoke to the BBC about a new character. What?
Must be German, because in German, the I, E-I is I, and I-E is E.
Exactly. Do you have that coffee mug? Kevin Feige spoke to the BBC about the new character, Miss Marvel, which is another character in the comic books. The Muslim hero is inspired by Captain Marvel, is definitely sort of in the works. Well, there's a statement for you. It's totally, completely, maybe happening. Nevertheless, we verified this. We spared no effort or expense. Because
I believe that's the comic. In the comics, Miss Marvel is a Muslim superhero, so the movie coming would be logical.
Yeah, but we've actually got, because of our sleuth staff here, we've actually got a sneak peek into what the movie is going to be about. So I am going to share this with you. No spoiler, because we don't have that sort of intricate details about the plot. But what you should know about the new Muslim Miss Marvel character in the movie is she's able to do very heroic deeds when she's allowed to leave the house. So you can be looking for that. Also, you can know there's not going to be any car chases because, well, she can't have a license. So no car chases in this one. And finally, wow. Remember Superman changing inside of the phone booth? Well, she changes into her superhero costume under her burqa. But you don't ever get to see that costume because she does have to keep the burqa on. So you can be looking forward to that movie with Miss Marvel, the Muslim superhero. Send your emails, comments, conundrums, or snarks to idea@wretched.org. Idea@wretched.org. For instance, Andrew, I did not know. He's from Orlando, Florida. I believe sometime this week, last week, recently, I mentioned that Disney is canceling their Night of Joy event. I thought that was the Christmas pageant. Apparently, according to Andrew, who lives in Orlando, so he would know everything there is to know about Disney, it's actually a Christian concert featuring artists like the Toby Mac, Skillet, etc. It happens in September, and it coincides with Universal Studios' Rock the Universe. What you mentioned was Epcot's Candlelight Processional, where they bring in like Whoopi Goldberg, Tom Wopat, and the like. And he writes it's probably only a matter of time before they discontinue that as well. So in the meantime, I just thought that the Night of Joy, it sounded kind of Christmassy, didn't it? Was that? It's not. Apparently that's going to continue. It's the other the rock show that was discontinued after 34 years. Todd writes, well, I don't want to say this wrong, and it's not a typo because it's in both the from, and he signs his name Martain. Do you pronounce that Phage? Is that how you say that? Martain. Martain?
Martin.
Are you sure?
Martin.
It's
just Martin.
It's just Martin. So
I've studied a couple of them, so yeah.
What's with the
Martin.
A? Is that just like an old English spelling, perhaps?
Martin?
Martin. I'm starting to hear the
French
term
version of Martine.
I'm starting to hear the term analytical theology more and more. Can you tell me anything about it? Not coherently. First of all, I have to confess, philosophy just makes me bonkers. It gets so ridiculous so fast. Nobody's in agreement because you can't understand why things are the way things are without the Bible. You just can't. You can get some general ideas about God from nature, but in order to figure out why we are here, what we're doing, how we're supposed to be living, what the point is, where we're going when we die, the big questions that must harmonize well. And by the way, speaking of that, I'm going to be, actually, I just started working on this last night. I'm going to be working on a new Don't Stub Your Toe. We're going to keep doing Don't Stub Your Toe, but thinking about making another gospel booklet that you can distribute and give away, just based on what you think is more appropriate. Why Christianity is true. It's because it makes sense. Everything harmonizes. Everything goes together. So when you ask those questions, where do we come from? What are we doing here? What's the point? How am I supposed to be living? So the morality question, and then the eternity question. Where am I going? If you compare, and this is what I'm going to do in this book, compare and contrast it to the other three big religions. So those four questions, we're going to look at those, answer those four questions for each of the big four religions: Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, and Hinduism. And what you will see is that the other religions, in an effort to try to answer those four questions, doesn't make sense. See, those questions don't just need to be answered. They need to be answered coherently. They need to make sense. They also need to harmonize. They also need to be satisfying. Is this working the way that I think it works? And does this kind of resolve everything for me? And the only religion that does that is Christianity. So I'm working on that book, and without an understanding of Christianity, you can't understand the world, which is why philosophy inevitably goes astray. And that's the problem with analytical theology. When you hear that term, it's been around for a while longer, but I think there was a kind of a seminal book in 2004 or 2006, and I just read the interview with two of the authors. Fuller Seminary, naturally, has folks that are analytical theologians. It's designed to combine and harmonize philosophy with theology. Hence the problem, Martin. You can't. You just can't. Humanist philosophy, your observations about the world are just going to be wrong. Socrates, Plato, it doesn't matter. Kant, you name your favorite philosopher, Bon Jovi, they just can't get it right. So why would we try to shmush it into the Bible? So in a nutshell, that's analytical theology. Got to be careful. When you hear somebody say, well, I'm a Christian philosopher, they better be a Christian theologian first and foremost that uses the Bible to analyze philosophy and not to try to integrate philosophy with Christianity. Idea at wretched.org. This was sent. Oh. And suddenly, if you haven't hated this program yet, you're going to now. This was sent in from Anonymous. I'm just going to leave the person's name out of it because I'm going to leave the particular name of this church. I don't know why we're doing that favor. They just opened up their brand new sanctuary, and you are now going to go to their first worship service and hear their first worship song. No, I'm not kidding.
You're not going to take it?
No, it's not Twisted Sister.
Oh, good.
I say I'm too late. Got nothing in my brain. At least that's what people say. Ooh, that's what people say. Ooh, I go on too many dates.
Come on, church.
But I can't make them stay.
What song is this, Joey?
At least that's what people say.
Ah.
That's what people say. But I keep cruising. Can't stop, won't stop moving. It's like I got this music in my mind saying it's gonna be alright. 'Cause the player's gonna play. Haters gonna hate.
That was worship song number 2.
That's a worship song?
Would you like?
I mean, yeah.
Would you like worship song number 2? You're going to get it anyway.
Under the lights when everything goes, nowhere to hide when I'm getting too close. When you move, oh, you already know.
It's interesting. It was all women on stage all the time. It was worship. A lot of dancing. Pretty sensual to boot.
Nothing I can see but you when you dance, dance, dance. The good creeping up on you, so just dance, dance, dance.
I actually thought that this was sent in by Babylon Bee, but it wasn't. This was a church that opened up the worship service with Uptown Funk.
This one for that ice cold Michelle fight with that white gold. This one for them good girls, them good girls.
Thank you, Anonymous, for sending that in. Thank you. Thank you very much. Now you don't have to go to this church next Sunday because you were just there, if you can call this church. This is Wretched. Oh, it's got a hallelujah. It's Wretched Radio. Shout out to our gospel partners. It is your ongoing monthly support that allows us to do Wretched Radio every single day and provide the broadcast, the entire program, for free to anybody on iTunes, Android, or at our website. Thank you for being a gospel partner. If you enjoy or benefit from Wretched Radio, would you please consider joining those partners so that we can continue to preach the gospel? Simply visit wretched.org.